Leonard, number 1.
Which part of the cell contains chlorophyll? D, S.
طبعا number G لأن كل دول chloroplasts يبقى فيهم chlorophyll. Dumas, number 2.
Which of these is found in chlorophyll? C, magnesium.
Magnesium, excellent. Salma.
Describe the role of chlorophyll to absorb sunlight, and to make photosynthesis, to produce oxygen.
برافو كويس قوي. What? Let's go to B.
Which of these is an example of positive phototropism? C, a plant stem growing towards light.
Very good. Dumas, number C.
The table lists the roles of some substances found in living organisms. Repeat the table by naming each substance. The first one is being done for positive phototropism, oxygen, digests fat, lipase.
Excellent. Bravo.
Diffuses across the synapse. الامبulse يا مس.
لا هو اللي بيعمل diffusion is a chemical بس له اسم طبعا في السينابس. It has a name. It's protein in nature, a chemical which is protein in nature وبيطلع من الفاسيكلز في البريسينابتيك knob. It transmits the impulse, so it is called neurotransmitter. Yes, very good. And prevents scurvy. We have known that scurvy is a kind of disease due to vitamin deficiency.
Vitamin C.
Vitamin C طبعا على طول طبعا vitamin C. برافو. Salma, number 2.
Which of these structures is the adrenal gland? Y.
Y, very
C.
good. Bravo يا سلمى. What? Number B.
The adrenal gland is an organ that secretes adrenaline. State what is meant by the term organ. An organ is a group of tissues that in a living organism that is adapted to a specific function.
Very good. But I prefer that you say a group of different tissues. Okay?
Okay.
Mention the word different مع الأورجان. طيب Dumas, number C.
Adrenaline is released into the blood when there is danger. The risk gives the effect of adrenaline on different parts of the body, dilates the pupil in the eye, increases the heart rate, narrows small arteries in the intestine, converts glycogen into glucose in the liver. Explain the advantage of these effects to person D.
لكل حاجة كده ايه الادفانتج بتاعتها.
بالنسبة للناس dilates the pupil in the eye dilates the pupil in the eye عشان more light enters أو عشان يشوف أحسن أو
Yes, very good. Very good.
sight.
Bravo.
Increases heart rate, so more blood and more oxygen is pumped to the muscles.
Yes.
طب ليه مش بيعمل narrow small arteries in the intestine؟
Remember when I said that إن بتبقى في parts of the body that needs to be more active. فعشان كده when the other parts of the body الارتريز بتاعتهم او الارتريولز بتبقى narrowed in order to divert the blood to these muscles مثلا او the legs لان الادرينالين is the hormone of fight or flight. That's why we need more blood in the muscles of the leg in order to run away, okay, or to run away. the small arteries of the intestine they narrow in order to save the blood or to divert the blood to the muscles of the leg. تمام؟ Okay. The next one.
Converts glycogen into glucose in the liver for more respiration and more energy produced for movement.
Yes, of course, of course. Thank you, Damas. Let's go to Salma, number 3A.
The diagram shows parts of the human digestive system. In which of these parts is hydrochloric acid produced?
Yes.
B.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Salma. What?
In which of these parts are feces stored? D.
D طبعا. Yes. This is the rectum. Okay, Damas, number B.
The liver produces bile. Explain the role of bile in digestion. Bile emulsifies fat into smaller droplets.
Excellent.
It provides the optimum pH for lipase to digest fat into fatty acids and glucose.
Very good, Damas. Bravo. يلا يا سلمى. Number C.
Some people have a condition called
celiac disease.
Celiac disease. In this condition, the body reacts to eating gluten, a protein found in wheat. This reaction damages the villi in the small intestine. The diagram shows how the villi in the small intestine are damaged. Explain how the undamaged villi are adapted for their function. They have a thin wall, which is 1 cell thick, which enables like faster diffusion. They have a large surface area, so there is more efficient absorption of fatty acids.
Very good. Is it only fatty acids يا سلمى؟ يعني من الفيلاي والمايكروفيلاي everything is absorbed. لكن if you want to mention the fatty acids you have to mention what?
Glycerol.
والجليسرول طبعا يعني هو مفروض ان الفيلاي and the microvilli they absorb all the types of digested food including fatty acids and glycerol, but they go to different pathways inside. What are these pathways بقى؟ ودي من ضمن طبعا الادابتيشنز. Inside the villi there is what? Oh, there are what?
Like a lot of like blood capillaries.
Very good. And what else? So let's take the blood capillaries. What's the importance of the blood capillaries here?
They transport blood.
Of course they transport blood, but their presence in the alveoli is to maintain a concentration gradient for absorption of digested food. Okay. وعندي هنا inside بيبقى فيه another blind tube inside in the middle كده. What's the name of this tube? which is connected to the lymphatic system. What's the name of the tube inside here? It's a blind tube. It is when you have a blocked end.
Miss, I think it's the lacteals.
Lacteals, of course. Yes, excellent. When you said fatty acids and glycerol, I thought you are going to mention lacteals because the fatty acids and glycerol they are absorbed through the lacteals وفي كمان fat soluble vitamins. They are absorbed there. Okay, thank you, Salma. Very good answer. What? Number 2.
Explain why children with untreated celiac disease may grow more slowly and become tired more easily than children with celiac disease. Use the information from the diagram and your own knowledge to support your answer.
This is the diagram.
The villi is damaged. When the villi is damaged, it's unable to absorb iron or vitamins or other nutrients. So this will help.
I lost your voice. I cannot hear you, Wad. You are speaking, but I cannot hear you. Oh. Sorry, I lost connection. معلش يا واد, sorry. ممكن تاني to answer this question لأن I couldn't hear you. You said that I heard only when the villi are damaged. So this will lead to less absorption of nutrients. Will you continue, please?
Yeah, this will cause less nutrients to be absorbed in the body, and the person becomes like the person will lack nutrients that is needed by the body.
طب like what? يعني هنا they said that untreated children they grow more slowly. So what's missing? في ممكن 3 حاجات ممكن أقول عليهم مثلا.
Iron.
Generally يعني الفيتامينز and minerals in general يعني. Okay. طب what else? في حاجة is very important for growth.
Yes, proteins.
Proteins, very good. طب are proteins absorbed from the intestine as such كده proteins ولا بيبقوا absorbed as what?
Amino acids.
Amino acids طبعا, يبقى الامينو acids are missing وكمان glucose. So there is no energy, فيبقى الجروث بتاعه كله بيبقى impaired. Okay? Yeah. Okay, thank you, Yawad. Let's go to the mass number 4.
Wow. The teacher does an investigation to show that plants require carbon dioxide and light for photosynthesis. This is the teacher's method. Place a potted plant in the dark for 24 hours. Place a strip of black paper over 2 of the plant's leaves. Pour some sodium hydroxide solution into a flask. Insert one of the leaves into the flask. Seal the flask with a cotton wool plug. Place the plant in bright light for 12 hours. Remove the 2 leaves and safely test them for starch. This diagram shows the teacher's techniques. Explain why the potted plant is placed in the dark for 24 hours. It's placed in the dark for 24 hours so that there's no photosynthesis made and the plant has to respire and use its glucose storage.
طبعا في كمان حاجة احنا كنا اخدنا I told you about it before. قلت ان اي experiment خاص بالphotosynthesis we have to do de-starching of the plant. So we leave it for 24 or even 48 hours in darkness until the plant uses up all its glucose, its stored starch, and then we start the experiment. فعشان كده هي عملت destarching لما سابته in darkness for 24 hours to allow the plant to use the starch, change it into glucose, and respire from it, of course, but because there is no photosynthesis. فهنا any starch that is present اللي هيتعمل بعد كده is due to photosynthesis. يعني explain why to discharge when glucose will be used by respiration from the stored starch, and all the starch that will be formed later is due to photosynthesis afterwards. تمام لان هي قالت قال في ال question place the plant in the bright light afterwards for 12 hours. طيب كويس قوي. سلمى number 2.
Explain one role of leaf Y in the investigation. To compare the results.
طبعا as a control. طب to show what؟ يعني yes to
to show
compare.
To show if the leaf X photosynthesized.
طبعا. طب do you think that leaf X will photosynthesize or not?
I think it will.
It will or it will not? I couldn't hear you.
It will.
Right, look at this. Sodium hydroxide solution, or it has another name, soda lime. What does this do? This sodium hydroxide solution in the flask. Why did they add this chemical?
To remove the carbon dioxide.
Very good طبعا. طب will the leaf X photosynthesize in the absence of carbon dioxide?
No.
Very good. يبقى هو حاطط كده leaf Y as a control أو to compare أو for comparison مع leaf X to see whether leaf X photosynthesize or not. أو بيبين كمان إن leaf Y performed photosynthesis these and leaf X did not. يبقى معنى كده إن الكربون دايوكسيد is necessary for photosynthesis together with light طبعا. لأن هو حطها في اللايت بعد كده. Very good يا سلمى. What?
Describe how to test the leaves for starch safely. Items will use item solution. First, we'll heat the plant leaf in a boiling water for like 30 seconds to kill the leaf, like to stop any chemical reaction. And then we'll add the leaf to boiling ethanol in a water bath for a few minutes because it will dissolve the chlorophyll and will remove the green color from the leaf. And then we'll wash it with water to rehydrate the leaf, and then we'll put it on a white tile and add then add an iodine solution by dropping pipette. And then after a few minutes, the parts of the leaf that contains starch will turn the iodine from from brown to blue-black color.
Very good, very good. Excellent, Jawad. Bas, I want you to read the question carefully. Your answer is more than excellent. What's missing?
Safely.
Don't miss this word يا جماعة. كتير قوي ما بناخدش بالنا منها. ساعات يبقى كاتبها هنا to how safely اعمل testing على الليف ف the student never sees the word ف what's the safety here? What's the safety precaution you're going to take?
Miss, can I say any safety precautions like
Yes.
wearing gloves?
Yes وكمان الافضل من wearing gloves الgoggles. Okay, because you
Yeah.
are using chemicals that might splash in your eyes. You are using boiling water. You can use tongs to hold the test tube in which the leaf is put. وفي a very important risk. Do you know it يا دماس؟
يعني مثلا مش المفروض في two precautions المفروض ناخدها اللي هي الووتر باث وال نعمل not boiling for the ethanol under benzene flame أو naked benzene flame عشان هو flame.
ده عشان في الكحول. دي مهمة
عشان flame.
جدا. دي مهمة جدا ان because alcohol is flammable يبقى once we use the alcohol we have to switch off or to turn out the Bunsen burner. Okay, this is another safety precaution مهمة جدا. We have to put off the fire أول ما استعمل الالكحول على طول. اوكي لان ده flammable وممكن قوي ان يعمل طبعا fire to go on fire وتبقى مشكلة. Very good. برافو يا وعد برافو يا دماس. يلا دماس نمبر بي.
Explain how the results on this investigation would show that light is required for photosynthesis.
Can I get you the question again? Here it is.
يعني مثل هي الريزلتس بتاعت الايودين يعني الايودين سوليوشن يبقى لونه ايه ويتحول.
لا خلي بالك هنا بص هي عملت ايه؟ عملت place a strip of black paper over the two of the plant leaves. فيبقى هنا عامل ايه؟ يعني ايه اللي هنلاقيه بقى؟
يعني in place of this black strips the place will be white علشان no photosynthesis has been made. While in the other parts, the rest of the parts will be green because photosynthesis is made, which shows that light is needed for photosynthesis.
طيب بس انا هقول لك حاجه هي هتبقى احنا بنعمل دي ستارتشنج وبنحطها كمان في boiling water وفي alcohol in order to dissolve الchlorophyll ف it's not going to be green. The result of this investigation would show that light is required for photosynthesis. يعني هي واحدة قالت ايه؟ قالت ان احنا we add ethanol in order to dissolve الchlorophyll لان الجرين color will mask the effect of الايودين. فانا لما يكون عندي ليف كده واجي اشيل البلاك ستريب خلاص وده مكانها and I drop iodine على الليف كلها والليف كلها كده بقت white او yellowish white because we removed the chlorophyll. So what are we going to see when we add iodine solution on this leaf?
يعني مش فيش كلوروفيل في كل الليف.
مفيش chlorophyll خالص بس لما بحط الايودين we can see the blue black color because starch is formed. طيب انا هنا كان عندي بعمل covering with a black strip. So when I drop the iodine, will all the leaf turn blue-black? This part was covered. It was covered by black strip and the whole plant was left in the sunlight for photosynthesis. And then when we remove the black strip and we boil the leaf completely and we put it in ethanol to dissolve the green color, so all the leaf will be white. If you drop iodine, will it all turn blue-black or
Yes.
not? طيب, what about the part that was covered from sunlight?
ما كانش بتاع الفوتوسينثيسيس.
يبقى معنى كده not all the leaf will turn blue-black. لا, ده الجزء ده وبس هيبقى blue-black because it was not covered from sunlight. فعملت الفوتوسينثيسيس العادي بتاعها لكن this part will remain yellowish brown by the color of iodine. You got it? You got it? Okay. لأن هي كانت covered من الأصل ببلاك strip so it did not receive sunlight in this part of both of them طبعا، بس طبعا دي مش هتعمل اصلا photosynthesis. لكن in leaf why? Because this part was covered so it was not exposed to sunlight. فلما باجي بعمل dissolving للكلوروفيل من كل الليف and I drop الايودين، هلاقي ان الاجزاء that were exposed to the sunlight they will turn blue black because they performed photosynthesis فعلا لان كانوا exposed to the sunlight, while the covered part will not photosynthesize, so no starch will be found here. فالcolor of iodine will remain brownish or yellowish brown. Okay, let's go to Selma, number C.
Plants convert the glucose they produce into starch. Explain why plants store carbohydrates as starch rather than as glucose. Because it's so glucose is soluble in water.
Okay.
And if it's stored in plant cells, it's gonna affect the way the water moves in and out of cells.
Yes, yes, of course. ممكن أقولها كمان على الستارch. أقول starch is insoluble in water and that's why it does not affect the osmotic أو the osmosis of water in the plant cell. كمان الستارch molecules are large. They cannot diffuse out of the cells بالتأكيد. Okay. Thank you. Let's go to what? Number 5.
The chromosomes found in human cells can be photographed and arranged in order to produce a karyotype. The karyotype shown in diagram 1 is from a normal human body cell. Explain how you can identify the sex of the person from the karyotype shown in diagram 1. The 23rd pair of chromosomes can identify the sex chromosomes, right? So they determine that like females will have 2 X chromosomes and males will have an X and a Y chromosome.
طب in this diagram.
In this diagram it's a male.
Yes, it's a male. يبقى ما بتكلمش بقى على الفيميل لأن هنا بيقول لي to identify the sex of the person from this karyotype. يبقى you say that this is a male because the sex chromosomes are X and Y or of different lengths or one of them is long, the other one is short, and so on. ممكن أجيبها بكذا طريقة. Thank you, Yawad. Excellent. Dimas, number 2.
Cells can be described using the term diploid or haploid. Explain the difference between these two terms using the information in diagram 1.
And this is diagram 1.
The number of chromosomes. The difference between haploid and diploid is the number of chromosomes.
So what's this diagram in front of you? Is it haploid or diploid?
haploid yes.
Why? Why?
يعني مفيش غير one set ولا؟
لا ده هم 2 sets.
2 sets اوكي. لا ده كده diploid.
Diploid طبعا. طب why بقى like explain what's the meaning of diploid and what's the meaning of haploid?
يعني diploid cells have 2 sets of chromosomes while haploid have only 1 set of chromosomes.
Yes, very good. أو ممكن تقولها ازاي كمان إن في الديبلويد it has 2 of each chromosome أهم 2 أهم of each chromosome while in haploid it has only 1 type of chromosome أو 1 of each pair. تمام. Okay. Let's go to Salma, number B.
The karyotype shown in diagram 2 is from a body cell of a person with a condition called
Klinefelter syndrome. Yes.
syndrome. This condition only affects males. Describe the difference between the karyotype in diagram 1 and the karyotype in diagram 2.
So look at this and then I get you diagram 1.
Okay.
Finished. Okay, this is 1.
So in diagram 2, there's 2 of the long ones and then one short one.
كويس. What's the name of the long ones and what's the name of the short? They have names. Look here are the names. X and Y. The long one is the X chromosome and the short one is the Y chromosome. So this one, diagram number 2, it has 2 X chromosomes and 1 Y, but diagram number 1, it has only 1 Y chromosome and YX chromosome. So you can also say that for diagram 2, they are 47 chromosomes. المفروض ان هم يبقوا 46. Okay, 23 pairs يعني 26. But because of this extra X chromosome, يبقى الكلاينفلتر syndrome male has 47 chromosomes. And this is, of course, a genetic abnormality. What?
You suggest how the karyotype in diagram 2 might have been caused. It can be as a result of errors in like crossover during meiosis.
طيب, what's the name of the error? مهم نعرفها دي.
Miss, I'm not quite sure.
طب who knows the error? Or what happens during meiosis and resulted in these 3 chromosomes instead of 2? Mutation. مش احنا اخدين الميوتيشن؟
Yeah.
Mutations دايما they result in genetic disorders like these. Okay. واذرز طبعا احنا اخدنا الداون سيندروم، لكن هنا ده another type اعطاني بدل 2 chromosomes بقوا 3. طيب دماس.
The frequency of Klinefelter syndrome in the United Kingdom is 1 in every 60 males. Population of the United Kingdom is 66 million, of which 49% are male. Calculate the total number of males in the United Kingdom with Klinefelter syndrome. مثل طلعت معايا 49,000.
برافو برافو. طب can you tell us what have you done؟
يعني هو أنا عملتها بطريقة طويلة شوية، بس يعني من الأول عملت 49% of 66 million
ايوه
equals 3,234,000.
yes.
فبعد كده قلت يعني عملت cross multiplication، يعني in every 660 people there is one. ف how much in 3,234,000 people؟ فعملت 3,234,000 multiplied by 1 over 660 ادتني 49,000.
طيب كويس قوي. على فكره هم 32 millions مش 3 millions. 32 millions and 340,000. في طريقه تانية طبعا طريقتك صح. الطريقه الثانيه قريبه جدا من بتاعتك. 49% times ال 66 millions طبعا هكتبها هنا times 10 to the power 6. دي هتطلع ال 32 millions 340,000 men. اوكي منهم 1 over 600 times النمبر of men ده، فهيطلع على طول ال 49,000. يعني يا اما by cross multiplication يا اما بالطريقه دي تيجي مظبوط طبعا. يبقى 49,000 males عندهم Klinefelter syndrome in England. Thank you, Demas. Salma, number 4.
Suggest why females who are aged over 35 are more likely to give birth to a baby with the Klinefelter karyotype. Yes, I'm not sure.
طيب what is the cause؟ لسه قايلينه. هو بيقول لك suggest. طب what's the cause of Klinefelter syndrome? We just mentioned it.
An additional X chromosome.
طيب يعني ايه اللي خلى الاكسترا اكس كروموسوم ده يتعمل؟ We just mentioned it. كانت واحدة بتجاوب وانا قلت لها الانسر في الحتة دي. mutation. اوكي ف you are going to answer according to mutation. ده هو بيقول لي suggest. فلما بيقول الفيميلز are aged over 35 ده طبعا an older age for pregnancy. فممكن يكون هنا بيكون في more chances أو the mutations are more likely to occur. فممكن أقول there are more chances of mutation in this older age of the females أو of the mothers. تمام؟ لأن احنا ما نعرفش وعمرنا ما شفنا الكلاينفلتر. فاشوف الكوز بتاعه ايه، يبقى ان في الايج اوفر 35 في الفيميلز بيبقى الميوتيشن are more likely to occur. Let's go to what number 6.
Scientists have developed genetically modified crops in order to increase food production by increasing crop yields. Some genetically modified crops are described as transgenic. Explain what is meant by the term transgenic. It's that when one or more DNA sequences are from another species are introduced into the species by like artificial methods or processing.
Very good, very good طبعا. بس بدل ما تقولي sequence of DNA قولي gene. A gene or an allele. ما هو دول برضو sequences of DNA. كويس قوي يا وعد. برافو. ديماس number 2.
If the role of two named enzymes in production of GM organisms. في نفس اللي هو اسمه DNA ligase
Yes,
DNA
yes,
ligase
very good.
that helps binding the
Mm.
DNA with I think binding to chromosomes أو
لا انت بتتكلم صح. binding the DNA
DNA.
with the foreign gene او with the gene او بيعمل binding للجين في الدي ان اي اللي هو بيتحط فيه. طب another enzyme بقى اللي هو بيعمل الكاتنج للجين ده في ال 2 DNA molecules.
recombinant
لا الريكومبيننت ده على الدي ان اي نفسه يبقى اسمه ريكومبيننت، لكن الانزيم اسمه ايه؟ مين فاكر الانزيم يا جماعه اللي بيعمل كاتنج وبيعمل كاتنج at sticky ends؟ nobody. restriction enzymes. اوكي restriction enzymes. واللي بيعمل البايندينج ذا لايجيز زي ما دوماس قال دي ان اي لايجيز. اوكي let's go to Salma number B.
Some GM crops that are available to farmers are resistant to herbicides. Other GM crops are resistant to diseases caused by caused by viruses to damage by insects. Some people are for the use of GM crops because they may be beneficial to ecosystems, and some people are against the use of GM crops because they could harm ecosystems. Discuss these opinions for and against the use of GM crops.
تقولي 2 points here and 2 points there with and against.
Okay, so with it is because it's like resistant to herbicides and viruses. So more crops will be obtained like in the end.
Mm-hmm.
And they can profit, the farmers can profit from selling them, since they're not going to lose
Mm-hmm.
since they're not going to lose any crops due to insects or viruses.
Okay, it means that the weed killers, they kill the weeds only but not the GM plants أو GM crops. وده طبعا هيبقى كمان البروفيت يا سلمى هيجي ان الفارمرز they will not يعني هيبقى عندهم طبعا a greater yield of the crop. في حاجة أنا حابة أقولها هنا، هو مش بيتكلم بس على الويد كيلرز، خليني أتكلم كمان على resistant to diseases caused by viruses and damage of insects. يبقى the farmers will not spray insecticides. يعني انت اتكلمتي مرة على الويد كيلر، another على الانسكتيسايد مثلا او الانسكتس، يبقى the farmers will spray او will not spray insecticides، ودي طبعا هتبقى كويس للenvironment. اوكي طب against
Since it's genetically modified, it can have harmful effects on the body of like the human body that ingests it.
Okay, but it was not proved. هو هنا على الايكو سيستم not على الهيومنز. the effect على الايكو سيستم. okay
Miss, I'm not sure.
طيب what? I see you raising your hand. Can you answer this against?
Miss, it can increase the levels of toxin in the soil.
But they are genetically modified. The plants, they are genetically modified crops. They do not increase toxins. ده نفس البلانت بيبقى genetically modified. طيب Damas, do you
Miss.
know the answer for this? أو can you think what more than this?
Miss, can I?
بس هو ايه البوينتس اللي اتقالت عشان بس
لا الأجانست هي اللي ما اتقالتش. مفيش ولا point من الأجانست.
Miss, can I like? I'm not sure if it's like for the environment, but it can be resistant to antibiotics. I mean, does it include like
No
ecosystems?
يعني it has يعني هو البلانت ممكن إن الإنسكت نفسه to be resistant to the genetically modified crop. بس أنا بفضل يعني إن ممكن أقولها إن يحصل إن لأن دي بتبقى الإنسكتس they are going to be killed ف this will decrease the biodiversity of the insect populations. Yes يا دوماس تفضل.
بس ممكن نستعمل مثلا الجملة الأولانية دي اللي هي farmers some crops are resistant to herbicides أو weed killers إن يعني في plants ممكن تبقى زي كده تبقى weed مثلا والفارمرز ما يقدروش يتخلصوا منها فممكن تاخد الsunlight أو الانرجي أو الفود
الcompetition you mean the
competition.
competition يعني they will
of water.
compete with the native species فعلا هيبقى في competition مع النيتيف species وكمان ممكن اقول this will reduce لو هتكلم على genetically modified crops that resist insects they damage the insects okay where they are not specific طبعا so this will reduce populations of the insects او تقلل biodiversity of the insects تمام. ممكن كمان ان يحصل pollination to الوايلد species مثلا او to other species من الجينيتيكالي modified crops وده against طبعا يحصل pollination فعلا from the genetically modified crops to the other species اللي احنا بنسميه the cross pollination. تمام يبقى كده 2 with and 3 against يلا what number 7.
In some countries, snails are farmed as a source of protein. The photograph shows a snail. A scientist investigates the effect of temperature on the growth of snails. The scientist measures the mean or average shell height of groups of snails kept at 3 different temperatures for 24 weeks. The table shows the scientist's results.
A graph.
Okay. So, Miss, can you go back?
Yes, of course.
On the y-axis, we're gonna put the time in weeks. I mean, no, on the x-axis. On the x-axis, it will be the time in weeks. And then the mean shell height will be on the y-axis, right?
Just a second. The mean shell height. So what's on the y-axis?
On the y-axis, it will. On the y-axis, will it be the mean shell? No, on the y-axis, it will be the time in weeks.
On the y ولا on the x?
On the y.
طيب هقول لك حاجة. هو the scientist measures the mean shell height of groups of snails kept at 3 different temperatures for 24 weeks. So we are going to put the time on the x-axis لأن we depend on 2 things, on the temperature and on the time. طبعا مش هقدر أحط triphasic graph هنا أو 3 graphs مع بعض فأنا بحط التايم بعمل سوري أنا بعمل 3 lines بحط على الاكس اكسس التايم، وعلى الواي اكسس بقول the height in millimeters and I represent the three temperatures. وده اللي احنا بنقول عليه the triple graph. ارسمه لكم كده. عندي التايم 0 و8 و16 and 24. يبقى انا هحط الاول كده the x axis because it depends on time and temperature. فانا هحط كده الاكس axis like this and the y axis. هنا بحط التايم كان in weeks, yes, so I write the unit. وهنا هحط الهايت in millimeters او the mean height in millimeters. يعني we take what's written in the headings وبكتبه مرة تانية. طيب أنا مضطرة أرجع بقى تاني هنا كده عشان أشوف إيه اللي مكتوب. 0 8 16 24. يبقى هنا عندي 0 هعملها كده 10 20 and 30. اوكي. اول واحده كانت 8 yes and then 16. يبقى ال 8 هتبقى هنا. this is 8 وبعدين 16 here and 24 يبقى here. طيب حد معاه بقى الهارد كوبي من ده يعمل لي ديكتيشن كده للتمبريتشرز؟
Yes, I have it.
طيب التمبريتشر الاولانيه كانت كام؟
8 degrees.
8 degrees مع ال مع ال مع ال الايه مع الزيرو.
At 0 it was 15.
طيب
The height
طب
was
الماكسيمم هايت كان كام في كله؟
في كله it was 21.8.
طيب يبقى انا هاخد هنا 10 here 20 and 30. اوكي كده يبقى كويس ولا ايه؟ لان لو حطيت 10 20 30 الجراف ده صغير قوي. هي 28 yes.
Can't we take it in 5?
طيب هو كام اعلى هايت يا وعد؟
21.8.
طيب يبقى انا هاخدها ليه صغيره كده 10 20 30.
Oh yeah, okay.
اوكي 10 20 and 30. اوكي طيب with the first column كان التمبريتشر بتاعته كام؟
8.
8. طب الزيرو بتاعنا كان with which height؟
15.
15. يبقى I'm going to come with this zero at 15 and I put a cross. طيب with 8 temperature with 8 weeks
It was 15.2.
15.2. so I take here the 8 15.2 ممكن تكون هنا برضو يعني in the middle of this. طيب 16 weeks
15.5.
15.5. so it's going. ده ايه صغيرين قوي قوي كده ليه؟ 15.5. طب انا اجيبها ازاي دي؟ this is 15. ده كله قد بعضه تقريبا. طيب with 24
16.4.
16. طيب طلعنا فوق شوية اهو 16.4 تقريبا هنا. طيب ده خلاص كده. هعمل هنا هو بيقول لي join the points with straight lines. فأنا هعمل joining لده كده اهو. بس الانترفال صغيرة قوي طبعا لأن هو حاطط لي جراف صغير جدا. يبقى كده عندي this one اللي هو at which temperature بقى؟
This is at 8 degrees.
At 8 degrees Celsius. طب let's go to the other temperature.
It's 15.
0 with 15.
0, yeah.
Okay, then it's the same. 8.
15.8.
15.8. so it's going to be here. ما تقريبا زيها. طيب with 16
16.8.
16.8 يعني قريب من ال 17. Let it be here. Okay. And 24
18.2.
24 18.2 it can be here. قريبين جدا من بعض لان الجراف صغير. لو الجراف اكبر كنت عملت الانترفيس بتاعتي واسعه عن كده. طيب فهاجي هنا هحط straight lines like this تقريبا كده، وبكتب هنا at which temperature
At 15 degrees.
15 degrees. طيب what about الweek 24
With 8, it's 16.4. I mean,
with
with
0
0,
with
15.
0 it's 15 again. Okay.
Yeah.
And with 8
17.
17 يبقى هطلع هنا شوية كده. With 16
20.4.
20.4 تقريبا هنا. و with 24
21.8.
21.8 يعني قريب من 22. واعمل joining لللاين بتاعي. انا هعمله with different color. طبعا زي ما بقول لكم الجراف اللي موجود هنا ده صغير جدا، لكن في الاكزام بيحط لي جراف اكبر من كده، اقدر ان انا اعمل دبلنج واكتب طبعا جنب ده which temperature بقى اخر واحده
23.
23 degrees Celsius. ده بقول عليه تريبل جراف. ببقى I'm showing 3 different informations على نفس الجراف. خدتوا بالكم بيتعمل ازاي؟ Is it clear ولا في مشكلة؟
It's clear.
تمام.
Yeah, it's clear.
أنا عندي
طيب،
سؤال.
أوكي. ايوه اتفضل يا دمى.
لأن بس الداتا هنا ديسكريت، ممكن أعمل برضه بار جراف ولا ما ينفعش؟
هو قايل لي
هو أي لاين جراف.
قايل لي لاين جراف وجوين with straight lines وكده، وقايل لي join the points. في حاجة مهمة، هو مش discrete لسبب ان انت عندك the height and the time واحد منهم independent variable اللي هو التايم and the height is the dependent، لكن ال temperature is changing، عشان كده بقى اللاينز مختلفين. الفكرة اللي انا بقولها ان في الاكزام بيبقى الجراف اكبر من كده، فانا ممكن احط كل 20 small squares احط 10، فتبقى اريح بدل ما كلهم يبقوا crowded كده في الحتة دي. اوكي، لان الفرق بينهم بسيط جدا. تمام. امتى بقى اقول بار تشارت يا دماس؟ لو انا عندي discrete information هنا على الاكس اكسس، لكن انا عندي الاكس اكسس كله خاص بالتايم. اوكي، فما اقدرش احط هنا بار تشارت. تمام. يعني انا لو عندي different مثلا organisms ولهم بتكلم على الهايت بتاعهم اعمل بار تشارت، لكن ده هنا الاكس اكسس التايم او الاندبندنت فاريبل بتاعي هو التايم. اوكي، فاحنا هنعمل كده كمان يا جماعه، ما ننساش ليبلينج للتمبريتشر جنب كل لاين انا بحطه. يلا شوف مع بعض بقى next question. طيب why will you answer the next one؟ لان انت ما جاوبتيش، يعني انا اللي رسمته.
Explain the effect of temperature on the growth of snails in this investigation.
طبعا انا هستعمل ده طبعا التيبل.
Miss, can you show me the question again? Sorry.
Yes, of course.
Explain the effect of temperature on the growth. Okay. When the okay. As the temperature increases, the mean shell height of the snail increases as well.
طيب why بقى؟ whenever you find temperature or pH, then you have to answer about
Miss, I'm not sure.
لا ما طب انت سمعتي اللي انا قلته whenever you find temperature او pH يبقى انا هوجه الاجابه بتاعتي لايه؟
مم.
ايه اكتر حاجه احنا اخدناها can be affected by temperature and pH؟ طب يس دماس
الانزيمز يا مس.
enzymes على طول enzymes على طول يا وعد اوكي whenever you find temperature او pH في حاجه زي كده على طول direct your answer للانزيمز على طول. طيب انا ليه بقول انزيمز كمان؟ لان هو بيقول ان السنيل is formed as a source of protein، فانا محتاجه هنا انزيمز عشان اللينث ده او الهايت بتاع نفس المين شيل هايت ده معتمد على ايه؟ ما هو انا هنا محتاجه انزيمز عشان تكبر الشيل بتاعتي كويس. حتى من غير ما اقول which type of complex of substrate او whatever، انا هقول ان this will increase the enzyme activity. The higher the temperature, the more is the enzyme activity. The more is the collision between the molecules, the more the formation of enzyme substrate complexes. اوكي من ضمن كمان البروسيسز اللي بتعتمد على التمبريتشر واللي هي الريسبيريشن، فيبقى في more energy for growth. تمام. فلو انا لقيت حاجه كده ولقيت temperature or pH على طول direct your answer على الانزيمز. انا هنا ما عنديش اي معلومه استعملها، يبقى mention ان when the temperature increases the enzyme activity will be more due to more collisions between the molecules, more enzyme substrate complexes, more products will be formed. الكلام ده كله ممكن احطه في answer زي دي. بس في البدايه بقول the higher the temperature the more is the growth طبعا، او the mean shell height increases.
Okay, Miss.
Okay. Dumas number 3.
كده بتاخد variable differentiation.
مم.
يعني ممكن اشتغل في اللايف بس
طبعا.
rate of growth of
Yes the growth او the height of
height.
the shell نفسها. ما احنا كنا حاطينها على الجراف as the dependent variable. Okay. Salma number 4.
State how the scientists made sure the results were reliable. Miss, can you say that? Like, I think you repeated the experiment.
طبعا. بصوا يا جماعه
Okay.
هنا كمان ممكن اقول because the scientists used groups of snails، يعني مش بيتكلم على only one group، لكن دايما whenever you find how the scientists be sure that the result is reliable اقول له by making repeats and taking the mean. لو السؤال جاي how can your investigation be reliable by making repeats and taking the mean، ده دايما بتتجاوب كده في question زي ده بالنسبه للاو ال. لكن لما بيبقى فيه higher courses بحط another answer بالتأكيد. يعني this one مع another one. لكن كفاية قوي عندنا هنا repeats and taking the mean. طيب thank you يا سلمى. وعد number B.
Assimilation efficiency is the percentage of food that is eaten and not digested as feces. Assimilation efficiency is calculated using this formula. Calculate the assimilation efficiency of the snail. Let's I'll calculate it.
Okay.
Miss, I got 75%.
Yes, 75%. Very good. Dumas, number 2.
Explain why the assimilation efficiency of primary consumer is less than the assimilation efficiency of a secondary consumer. يعني مس نسبة الانرجي اللي بتيجي له بتبقى
Assimilation efficiency of a primary consumer is less than the assimilation efficiency of the secondary consumer. ليه بقى؟
بس يعني ممكن مثلا عشان البرايمري كونسيومر بياكل بلانت والسكندري كونسيومر بياكل انيمال فالبلانت they have less fats او less sources of energy.
لا بالعكس، هي الفكرة ايه؟ فاكر لما كنت بقول لكم ان بيكون في loss of energy؟ ليه؟ لان not all the plant is eaten وحاجة كمان not all of it is digested، فعشان كده بيبقى في more feces في البرايمري consumer than the secondary. فلما بيبقى في more feces فمعنى كده ان ال assimilation efficiency will be less. تمام؟ كويس. يبقى أول حاجة أقول because the primary consumer eats plants، تيجي كده الفيرست مارك على question، والسكند مارك هقول they produce more feces أو they cannot digest parts of the plant. Let's go to Salma, number 3.
The production efficiency of an animal is the percentage of assimilated food that is made into new biomass. The table shows the production efficiency of a mammal and a snail, both of which are primary consumers. So for the mammal, the production efficiency is 2%, and for the snail is 35%. Suggest why there is a difference in the production efficiency of the mammal and the snail. Miss, Is it because like the use of assimilated food in the snail, it's reduced?
طب why؟ ما بالتأكيد it is reduced. طب عشان كده بيبقى عنده more production أو usage of the assimilated food to produce new biomass. طب what's the reason؟ إن الماملز بيبقى less than the snails.
I'm not sure. Miss.
You're not sure? طيب Wad, can you answer this question? طيب remember when I was explaining this part I told you that the energy is used up in several processes or in several things by the animal. That's why the amount of energy kept for building the new biomass will be less than the energy taken from the previous organism. فاكرين ما قلت لكم الكلام ده؟ وقلت لكم ان الكاوز مثلا بيبقى عندها a great loss of energy من الفود that it takes يعني في الريسبيريشن في الموفمنت with feces and urine and so on. فهنا عندي المامل بالتأكيد its activities أو الميتابوليك ريت بتاعه أو الميتابوليك activities بتبقى higher than that of the snail. Like what? Like respiration for example. It consumes a great part of its energy from food in respiration. Well, mammals they are moving. الموفمنت بتاعتها is more بتاع المامل is more than the movement of the snail. فيبقى معنى كده the mammals are using more of the assimilated food than the snails بالتأكيد. فيبقى عندها less energy أو less production efficiency to build its biomass than the snail. لأن المامل بتاكل أيوة أكل كتير أكتر من السنيل لكن it loses great part of the energy taken from food in metabolic activities like respiration and because مثلا the animal is الموفمنت بتاعته is more than the movement of the snail فبيبقى فيه energy lost as well. The remaining energy is used to build the new biomass of the body. Okay? Is that clear now?
Yes.
تمام. Okay, let's go to next question. What? Number 8.
The diagram shows an insect transferring pollen grains from flower P to flower Q. Which structure in flowers contains pollen grains? The anther.
The answer, yes. Thank you, Dumas.
Pollen grains are deposited in the stigma and grow tubes down the side. So just how style tissue helps the tube to grow. مثلا مش موجود في الدياجرام ولا؟
لا مش موجود. الستايل قدامنا اهو مش موجود. لا ده كاتب راسم البي. طيب let me help you. البولين tube is increasing in length أو is growing. What's necessary? What are the necessary things for growth of anything?
في بروتينز.
Yes. ممكن كمان الانرجي يبقى فيه more جلوكوز مثلا.
ستارش مثلا يكون فيه ستارش ورايبوزومز.
اوكي بس خلينا هنا نقول على الستايل تيشو نفسه ممكن يكون supplying او providing glucose for more respiration to produce more energy عشان البولين tube to elongate plus it can supply او can provide more proteins for elongation of او more amino acids for elongation of the tube. يعني انا هجيبها من الناحيه دي. الجروث عموما what does it need? It needs protein and energy. يبقى بالتاكيد ان الستايل جواه او بيطلع certain protein او amino acid to help in the growth of the tube وكمان we need energy so it provides glucose مثلا او sucrose for respiration to get more energy for growth. يعني حتى لو احنا مش عارفين ممكن نجيب الانسر كده من الكويستشن اللي قدامنا from what's written growth الجروث بيحتاج ايه and we can get it. Okay. Salma, number 2.
The graph shows a change in the length of a pollen tube over a 180-minute period. Calculate the fastest rate of pollen tube growth in millimeters per minute. So from 60 to 120.
Okay, very good. So what's the rate?
Miss, I'm not sure, but like, do we do 4.7 minus 1.4 and then over the minutes?
4.7, yes.
I mean, minus
1 point.
Okay.
What is this? 1.4
1.4
مثلا divided by
60.
by 60. Yes, excellent. لأن الريت يا جماعة دايما بتبقى مثلا the volume divided by time, the length divided by time and so on. فهنا التايم فعلا في fastest growth between 60 and 120 يبقى this is 60 minutes and we just subtract the highest from the lowest from the highest point أو length and we divide by the time. فزي ما تطلع بقى بس the answer طبعا
0.055.
اوكي هي الميثود از كوريكت طبعا. ثانك يو يا سلمى. وهنا هو كاتب لي اهو اليونت. حتى لو احنا مش عارفين لو بصينا لليونت هنقدر نعرف مليمترز بير مينت يعني مليمترز ديفايدد باي مينت. طب ايه اللي عندي بالمليمتر؟ ما هو الهايت او اللينث divided by the time. طيب ثانك يو يا سلمى. وعد نمبر 3.
A farmer grows apple trees. The flowers on the apple trees must be pollinated by insects to produce an apple crop. The farmer is concerned that the use of pesticides may affect the yield of apples. Design an investigation to find out if pesticides reduce the yield of apples. Include experimental details in your answer and write 10 full sentences. So the Miss is gonna the farmer can use pesticides over like he can use pesticide in a day, and then Miss, he can use like the pesticides over a period of time, and then after some time he can check if the apple yields are reduced or not, and then he can repeat it.
طيب هقول لك حاجة. دايما لما بيكون عندي an investigation كده we can use these forms. Same. طب what are these letters standing for? ال C معناها the changeable variable or the independent variable or the changeable factor. ال O means the type of organism we are using. Yes يا دوماس.
بس هكملهم يعني.
هتكملهم؟ اوكي. ال R يبقى ايه؟
repeat
ال repeats. Yes, ال repeats. طب what about M1 and M2؟
هو بيختلف يا مس، اصل يعني M1 المفروض هو الحاجات اللي نخليها the same في الكونديشن.
لا ده الاس هي اللي the same. دول الميجرمنت.
ايوه التايم
measurements. الاس هي the same او the controlled variables. خليني اقول same بس احنا طبعا بنقول عليها controlled variables او ممكن اقول which factors are kept the same. تمام. طيب انا هنا بيقول لي the farmer is concerned that the use of pesticides may affect the yield. يبقى we have to use two apple trees مثلا. One of them we are going to use an insecticide or a pesticide, and the other one will not. We will not use the pesticide. طيب the one that we did not use the pesticide with will act as a control. أو عشان أعمل comparison ما بين ال yield of both trees. يبقى هنا ال changeable factor بتاعي. طبعا احنا في الاكزام ما بكتبش كورمز، لا انا بكتب على طول. التشينجبل فاكتور بتاعي هيبقى هنا التري with insecticide and another tree without insecticide. تمام. ال without دي انا I'm going to use it بس for comparison، لكن ال with ده عشان فعلا ده الفاكتور اللي انا بشتغل عليه. طيب what about the types of the trees, both of them? They have to be of the same age مثلا، أو ممكن أقول of the same species of apples, of apple trees. ال repeats هنا معناها we are going to use several trees. في جروب منهم استعمله with وفي جروب without. فهنا دي الريبيتس بالنسبة لي، لأن أنا مش هقدر أعمل the same experiment to be repeated on a tree. ما ينفعش. I will use مثلا several trees لكل example with and without. دول بعتبرهم كل tree هنا تبقى one repeat. ايه بقى الميجرمنتس اللي انا هشوف فيهم؟ انا بشوف اليلد، فانا بدور هنا على النمبر اوف apples that will be produced او the mass of the apples مثلا that will be produced in each group. وفي نفس الوقت I have to mention a certain time. يعني ممكن مثلا time زي ده ممكن اقول قد ايه. اكيد مش هقول several hours لان انا مستنيه tree عشان تطلع apples، فممكن اقول مثلا 1 month يبقى مناسب قوي بالنسبه للتايم بتاعي. طيب ايه بقى الكنترولد variables؟ ان لازم يكونوا all the trees they are receiving the same light intensity، لان انا هنا هعتمد على photosynthesis بالتاكيد. the same مثلا carbon dioxide، the same temperature. ممكن ان انا اخد مثلا the same amount of water for all trees. طيب انا كده عطيتك البلان بتاعتك، بس هو بيقول include experimental details in your answer. فانا اللي هم دول الديتيلز اللي انا اعطيتهم اهم. طب ازاي اقدر بقى اعمل in full sentences الكلام ده كله يا وعد؟ تقدري تكوني لي كده design an investigation using full sentences of the points that I mentioned?
Yeah, so we're gonna bring two trees and do the experiment on two trees. The first tree we're gonna use it to compare. It will have no it will use no pesticide on that tree, and on the other tree we'll use pesticide, and then the insects will have the same, will be of the same age, and
لا مش
will be
الانسكتس،
of
ده التري نفسها. التري نفسها
Miss-
will be of the same age and of the same species. نفس التري.
okay.
Okay.
So the tree will be of the same age and same species, and then we're gonna leave it for some time, and then measure the number of trees, number of apples, I mean, produced from the tree, and then
From both trees طبعا.
from both trees, and then repeat the experiment several times for more reliable results. And this experiment should have controlled variables like the same CO2 levels and temperature, and same light intensity.
Very good. Very good يا جماعه. فاحنا لو مشينا كده بالبوينتس دي او بالستبس دي يبقى على طول ممكن I design an investigation من حاجه انا ما اعرفهاش خالص. اوكي. طبعا الاو هنا ده لو كان عندي اورجانيزم، وفعلا انا عندي ابل تريز، فلكن نفترض ان انا ما بشتغلش على اورجانيزم مثلا، يبقى لازم ان مثلا لو بشتغل على انزيم ممكن اخلي الاو دي تعتبر مثلا ايه السبستريت مثلا الانزيم نفسه concentration and so on. اوكي. وممكن I do not include الاو خالص، مفيش اورجانيزم، وادخل المعلومه بتاعتي في التشينجبل فاريبل. فاحنا لو عرفنا معاني البوينتس دي these letters يبقى على طول هقدر ان انا اعمل ديزايننج لاي انفستيجيشن يجي لي. تمام. لو عايزين تاخدوا سكرين شوت من البورد ده خدوه عشان نفضل فاكرين حاجه زي دي، لان هي مش مكتوبه على فكره، يعني هي التيتشرز بيقولوها كده في الليسنز لكن مش مكتوبه. When you're done, please tell me.
Yes, I did.
Okay. What about Dimas and
Yes.
I'm done.
Selma? You're done? Okay. Right. Let's go to Dimas with the next question. يلا. أخيرا respiration. Yes. Number 9.
Aerobic respiration uses oxygen and produces ATP. Complete the word equation for aerobic respiration. هتبقى oxygen plus glucose
Yes.
يديني carbon dioxide plus water plus ATP.
برافو. وطبعا كله in words. اوعى حد هنا يكتب CO2. لا، بيقول لي word equation. طيب. Thank you, Dimas. Salma, number B.
Scientists investigate the rates of aerobic respiration of some animals. The scientist calculates the rate of respiration per gram of each animal. The results are shown in the table. Okay, so for the frog, the rate of aerobic respiration per gram is 150, and for the human, it's 200, and for the mouse, it's 1,500. Explain why a mouse uses more oxygen per gram than a human. because the mouse takes in less oxygen than humans, like for each breath.
بس هنا
And-
the rate of aerobic respiration is much more in the mouse.
Yeah, so it's going to need to breathe faster
Mhm.
in order to deliver the oxygen around like its whole body. So it like takes in more oxygen.
Mhm. طيب what about the size؟ يعني أنا لما ألاقي كده
So
human
the mouse has a great, like it has a larger surface area to volume ratio.
very good. هي دي بالظبط اللي هتدخلك على الانسر بقى. larger surface area to volume ratio, so
More heat is lost.
كويس. يبقى that's why.
And then it needs more oxygen
Okay, for what?
to
Now, what does the mouse do with oxygen? What's the use of oxygen, Salman? For any organism?
almost to respire.
Of course. الأكسجين for respiration دي مكتوبة فوق. يبقى هنا more respiration for the mouse. طب ليه بقى؟ يعني انت قلتي ان الماوس عنده a higher او a larger surface area to volume ratio, so it loses heat very rapidly. It needs to respire more. Why? او حتى مش بس respiration، ده بيعمل metabolism عالي قوي. Why?
Oh, okay. So the higher metabolic rate of the mouse,
كويس.
it needs a greater, like it needs more oxygen to deliver it to the tissues in the body.
هو هنا بيستخدم بالاكتر الريسبيريشن to maintain the body temperature او to warm up، لان part of the energy is changed into heat energy. فالماوس هنا because it has a large surface area to volume ratio, so it loses heat from the body rapidly. That's why it has to have a higher metabolic rate to maintain the body temperature. أو ممكن أقول it respires more to maintain the body temperature. Okay. لأن إحنا حتى as humans part of our respiration أو energy produced by respiration بيبقى used up to maintain our temperature. What number 6?
The structure of a frog heart is different from the structure of a human heart. The diagram shows the section of a frog heart with arrows showing the direction of blood flow. What is the name of the blood vessel labeled X? Blood from the lungs. It's the pulmonary artery.
From the lungs.
Pulmonary vein.
Vein طبعا. اللي to the lungs يعني coming out of the heart to the lungs ده هو الارتري. لكن ده vein. Because the blood it carries blood to the heart يبقى vein على طول. طيب Damas, give one difference between structure of this and
give one difference between the structure of a frog heart and the human heart. ده يمثل frog heart.
ده frog heart.
تمام. There are less valves in the heart of a frog than a human.
Okay. طب what else very very يعني clear.
اللي هو we send blood to the lung blood to the lung والبودي والسكن من الناحية الليفت
لا في نفس الستراكشر اوف ذا هارت دي في حاجه قدامنا واضحه قوي.
ان مفيش سبتم او مفيش حاجه
مفيش
تفصل
septum، في only one ventricle كمان. and for humans بتبقى two ventricles. او ممكن تقول the frog's heart is divided into 3 chambers لكن الهيومنز into 4. الفروج فعلا عندها one ventricle only. سلمى number 3. انت الكويستشنز الكبيره كلها النهارده حظك. يلا for more training. كويس.
Humans can run for long periods of time. Frogs can only move for short periods of time. Explain how the structure of the heart of a frog means that it is unable to move for long periods of time. Can you say that for like 1 point?
I give you يعني a hint.
No, like I was gonna say something. So because it doesn't have like different parts like to okay, so can you say that like because it receives deoxygenated blood at the same time as oxygenated blood, it takes longer to.
لا هي في حاجة عندك هنا الventricle. Is there a septum in the ventricle to divide it into 2? No. فهنا عندك mixing up of oxygenated and deoxygenated blood لأن هنا blood is coming from the lungs oxygenated and blood coming from the rest of the body deoxygenated. So in the ventricles oxygenated and in the ventricle it's only one. Oxygenated blood will mix with the deoxygenated blood. So what happens بقى؟
Okay.
بالشكل ده يبقى ايه بقى؟
It's going to take longer to separate the metabolic waste.
طب why longer؟ يعني هقول لك حاجة يبقى كده blood which is pumped to the lungs والbody والskin هلاقي ان لو to the lungs it will not only receive deoxygenated blood, it will receive oxygenated blood as well. And for the body together with the skin will receive both types of blood. يبقى هنا عندي less oxygen, okay, ويبقى فيه less gas exchange. ف less oxygen will reach the cells طبعا. That's why there is less energy. عندي كمان حاجة مهمة جدا. There is no valve here. فممكن قوي يحصل returning back of blood او back flow. فحتى لو الفنتريكل عامل pumping ممكن يرجع تاني الاكسجينيتد بلس the deoxygenated. فكل الفاكتورز دي او الريزنز دي يبقى this means that the frog will have less energy, that's why it moves for short distances than humans. Clear يا سلمى؟
Yeah, it makes sense.
Okay. طيب let's go to next question with what? Number 10.
Blood consists of cells and plasma. Plasma transports various substances to and from different parts of the body. Describe the function of plasma in transporting named substances in the body. Plasma acts like transporting medium for various substances like nutrients.
لا mention the nutrients بقى عشان بيقول لك named substances. بلاش nutrients بس. اديني كده examples بقى.
Vitamins and minerals.
طب what's more important than the vitamins and minerals?
Oxygen.
ممكن عايزة أقول حاجة يعني هو الأكسجين is it transported by the plasma؟
Water. Is it?
دي هي البلازما نفسها water.
Yeah, oxygen. Isn't oxygen transported by the plasma?
لا. Where is oxygen carried؟ في البلاد. What about the red blood cells and the hemoglobin and all this?
Yeah. Okay.
هو عايز البلازما بس. البلازما transports ممكن glucose to the body cells in order to respire. طب transports ايه كمان؟ اعطيتك هنت اهو. transports ايه كمان؟
Miss, what? Sorry, can you repeat it again?
I said that the plasma transports glucose to the body cells for respiration.
Yeah, it also transports metabolic waste to the liver and the kidneys.
Very good. But can you give me one very important metabolic waste?
Urine.
Yes, not urine. It is called what? Urea. Very good. Urea is a part of the urine. فأنا ما بقولش urine بقى بقول urea because it's still carried by the plasma. So what else? Transports. What else? Give me other types of digested food materials, other types. I mentioned glucose. What else?
Proteins like amino acids.
Amino acids, not proteins. Amino acids. And you mentioned vitamins and minerals. Okay, correct. يبقى كده 3. وقلتي metabolic waste يبقى أو اليوريا يبقى 4. خلاص كده كفاية. 1 4. طبعا البلازما كمان transports hormones, antibodies. Part of the carbon dioxide is transported by the plasma, but not oxygen. Oxygen is transported by the red blood cells. It is carried on the hemoglobin. ما احنا واخدينها بقى يا جماعه. اوكي ما ننساش الحاجات دي يا جماعه. كمان البلازما بيبقى فيها بلازما بروتينز من ضمنهم البلاد كلوتينج فاكتورز like fibrinogen مثلا. yes. فكل دول يعملوا لي answer to this question and they need only 4. طيب Dumas number B.
The diagram shows a white blood cell called the phagocyte. The magnification of the cell is calculated using this formula. Magnification equal diameter of cell in diagram over actual diameter of cell. The actual diameter of the cell is 0.013 millimeters. Complete the magnification of the cell.
Okay. So tell me about how can do it يعني. هو بيقول لي اهو اعطاني الفورمولا بس هو عاطيني الاكتوال diameter of the cell in millimeters. What about the diameter of the cell in the diagram? What are
المفروض
you
لسه عمل له measuring.
لازم اعمل measuring يا جماعه للدايمتر بالتحديد، يعني ما اجيش اعمل measuring في حته كده، لا لازم ايدي تبقى accurate عشان يطلع الانسر مظبوط. ما اجيش اقيس كده واقول this is the diameter. Of course not. diameter يبقى the widest part كده او the widest measurement. كويس؟ فيو measure the diameter بالتاكيد، وهجيبه برضو in millimeters not in centimeters. يعني انا لو جبته in millimeters هرتاح، لان انا عندي اليونت هنا بتاعت الاكتوال diameter is in millimeter، يبقى on the image it has to be in millimeters as well. واكتب بعد كده الماجنيفيكيشن، اعمل just division. Thank you دماس. طيب سلمى, what's the structure labeled A here?
The nucleus.
nucleus طبعا، ودي lobed nucleus اللي هي one of the phagocytes طبعا، وهو قايل ان دي phagocyte بتبقى عندها a lobed nucleus. طيب what's next? One.
Describe the function of this cell in defending the body from infection. So the phagocytes engulf the bacteria or foreign body cells, like foreign bodies that comes into the body. Then the lymphocytes.
لا بلاش lymphocytes لان دول مش lymphocytes، دول phagocytes, and you said they engulf the bacteria. What do they do with the bacteria later on?
They acidify it, right?
Why acidify it? Why? لا, they break it down or they digest it by sort of enzymes. They are broken down or digested by enzymes inside the white blood cell. اوكي, مفيش acids هنا خالص, لا. طيب دماس number C.
Other white blood cells produce proteins called antibodies. State how you could test a sample of plasma for protein.
كويس قوي. How can you test for protein? Without any details.
بيوريت بس
By Biorate test, yes,
Biorate.
of course. By Biorate test.